We're back on NBA Today with breaking news, this time out of Orlando. Our senior insider, Shams Charania, is here with us. Shams, the Magic, they have made a decision here on their next head coach. What have they decided on?
Malika, sources tell me that Orlando is hiring Spurs associate coach Sean Sweeney as the franchise's next head coach. Sweeney gets this job during a process that also included finalists in Billy Donovan and Jeff Van Gundy. So now Sweeney will finish up the rest of this postseason on the Spurs bench. We know his value to Mitch Johnson throughout this first season overall for him in San Antonio, running the defense, one of the top defensive teams in the NBA, a 28-win improvement from last season. And I'm told Sean Sweeney really clinched this job in a meeting with ownership in San Antonio on an off day on Wednesday. He's coached stars like Giannis, Luka Doncic, now Wemby, and Stefan Castle, and now will take over a team that has Eastern Conference contending aspirations in Orlando.
I covered Sean Sweeney when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and certainly he is a defensively minded coach. And the Orlando Magic, we saw their defense take a little bit of a dip last season, so you have to imagine that he's really going to drill down there with a team that is hoping to go farther than they did in the postseason this year, Shams. Speaking of the postseason, let's get back to the playoffs here in New York side of things, because you also reported this morning that Mitchell Robinson, he had surgery on that broken right pinky. The finals, though, they're only 5 days away. So what do we know about his status for game one?
Malika, I'm told that Mitchell Robinson fully plans to play in game one of the NBA Finals, either in Oklahoma City or San Antonio on Wednesday. He's going to do so with a brace on that right hand to be able to play through that broken right pinky. And as for the when and where of this all even happening, the hand fracture actually occurred outside of team activities earlier this week. And so now Mitchell Robinson will get about a week of rehab before suiting up in game one.
Yeah, Mike Brown, he was asked about exactly when this happened, and he left it very, very vague, just saying not at practice, not in a game, but the hope is that he's going to be back here for game one. Shams, thank you very much for that insight. Oh, we lost Shams. He was like, I'm out. I broke the news. I got more news to break here. Danny, how important, though, when you look at this postseason, has Mitchell Robinson been, and will he continue to be as they march on?
I think this series upcoming for them, he's the most important, because their superpower is their offensive rebounding and also to play big against a Wemby or Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, he's the reason why they struggle, or why Wemby struggled against the New York Knicks. So people are thinking it's a pinky. I've had a metacarpal fracture before. It's really more so in the hand. There's no excuse for that. Hopefully it's not because somebody was messing with his truck. I don't know if you've seen the videos or not. But this is important. He's important to this group. For them to survive or also win and be like a comfortable Knicks team that they've been, he has to be healthy and playing his best basketball, because he's the reason why they can neutralize a Wembyamba or a Hartenstein.
Can you just show us one more time your hand?
In the hand. It's more like inside the hand. So the metacarpals are in the hand. His probably more so. It's not like people think, oh, it's just a little pinky. Like, this affects you a lot more when catching, when grabbing, or swiping down, so that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, but as players, you know, there are certain injuries you cannot play with. But when it comes to your hand, if you have a brace and you do have protection, you do have a fair chance. And it's not like he's lighting it up from three, right?
He's got to be able to grab that offensive rebound.
He's got to be able to, like, tap that thing inside the basket. But I do think the two numbers that are important when it comes to his impact, top 5 in offensive rebound and holding his opponents to 38% shooting from the floor. So him being there is a big factor. More so for his body, not necessarily for the
All right, so that he can be able to snatch that offensive rebound.
That's all he needs to do.
For a little putback there. The Knicks, though, they're still waiting. They're going to be waiting until tomorrow to find out who their finals opponent is. But Karl Anthony Towns, he said that they're going to get back to practice. That's where we find him earlier today.
We understand what happened last time. We had a layoff like this, so we're just trying to be better than we were last time and approaching it better and preparing better than last time. You know, we obviously are making tweaks to not have a kind of the same rust. We're preparing every single day for whatever the situation may be, and we're just ready. So we're just, you know, we have a lot of days. We've been fortunate. It's a fortunate thing that happens when we have a lot of time where we can figure out a lot of the puzzle. And but, you know, we don't know what the picture is yet until, you know, we get to Wednesday next week.
While we wait for that picture to be painted, he's picture perfect. Bobby Marks is joining us now. And Bobby, the Knicks, they're on a historic run. They've won 11 straight games. And let's go back. Do y'all remember Bobby Marks, when he was in the Nets front office, they won 10 straight games on their way to an NBA Finals. So what do you remember from that then applies to New York?
Well, first of all, I had a lot more hair back in 2003 here, Malika. So I listen, I think it's a little bit different. I think back in looking at New Jersey, back in those days here, we built that roster going into the 2002-03 season to compete against the Lakers in the NBA Finals with Shaq there. Unfortunately, we got San Antonio instead with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. So I think certainly from a roster construction, it was a little bit different, where this Knicks team, they lose to Indiana last year. They stayed patient as far as what they were able to do. Certainly go out and hire Mike Brown as their head coach here. But I think that from a roster, from a rest standpoint, we wound up losing game 1 here. I think it's a little bit quicker of a turnaround just based on where they are this year compared to 23 years ago.
Yeah, and they also talked about how they saw that they were letting their foot off the gas a little bit in game 1 against Cleveland. They're trying not to do that after this long layoff. We saw that the roster that you built there, it included Richard Jefferson, so clearly some of your decisions were a little bit questionable, although he was very important to that team. But the Knicks, Bobby, they really built this in a unique way. We talked about the pay cut, essentially, that Jalen Brunson took and what that allowed to open up for the rest of this Knicks team. How are they able to construct this?
Yeah, they're a little bit different than what Oklahoma City and San Antonio has done with homegrown talent here. I think when you look at roster building, usually, Malika, it's done with the draft, trades, and then free agency. New York's kind of flipped the script a little bit here, where it's basically been through trades. When you look at their starting 5, 4 out of their 5 players have been acquired in trades. Jalen Brunson is the outlier. They go out and sign him from Dallas, and that's even a unique situation, because when does a player who's making $25 million or more actually switch a team? And then they did that with Brunson. And then you look at the back end with their roster, it's depth, right? They basically have with Mitchell Robinson, who was a draft pick, Landry Shamet, free agency, Jordan Clarkson, Deuce McBride here, kind of fringe moves, and that's been more of a strength this year than what was an Achilles a year ago.
Yeah, certainly this Knicks team. We've seen a trend the last couple of years. The team that's lost in the conference finals, they're then the team that represents the East for the last 4 straight
They go on
years.
to the finals.
That's true.
So New York, they're still keeping good on that trend, but will they be like the Boston Celtics, a team that breaks through and wins it all? We shall see. Bobby, thank you. We're going to see you a little bit later. We got a Game 7 to talk about, though. Playing in one of...
Pretty interesting. Yes, what it do, baby?
I got 5 beers.
I ain't scared of nobody.
It's on the wall.
Every basket I have to earn with meat.
What? Damn.
It's Friday, so let's have some fun. It's our hit game. Who said that? We're going to take a look at some quotes that caught our attention and ask our esteemed contestants and you at home, who said that? Come play along with us. Let's take a look. Here are the current standings. Wendy is leading the way. Janae bringing up the caboose.
I don't have enough.
Yeah. Danny, we need to get the minimum games played here. So we're going to start with you, sir.
Yeah.
Who said this quote? I think I did pretty good, I don't grade myself off of shot making. Does James Harden not grade himself that way? Does PG not grade himself that way? Or does DeAndre Ayton say, nah, it's not about the shot making?
Lucky me, I got a chance to follow them a little more closely, especially toward the end of the postseason. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it has to be James Harden.
Was it, in fact, James Harden?
Give me a
Well
win.
done.
Thank you, producer.
Well done.
It's pretty good, Like I don't grade myself off shot making.
Well done,
Well
Danny.
done, Danny. Danny on the board.
Moving on
All right,
up.
Shanae.
Not a great grade
The bar
for
has been
Cleveland.
set here. So this person was
Okay.
asked, quote, what's the funniest nickname you've ever had and how did you get it?
know?
And this
I know
person
this
replied, their nickname is Fine. So besides
Fine
you,
Stuff?
Shanae Agumake, whose nickname
Who's
is...
Fine Stuff?
Is Paige Bucket.
Fine Stuff?
Fine.
There's 4, so it can't be stuff.
Fine-ish.
What's the funniest nickname you've ever had, and how did you get it?
She said something.
She's also white chocolate. She said she's white
I
chocolate.
think you knew it was going to be when she goes, well.
Thank you, Paige,
all
for
right.
giving me my first
Since
ever
y'all
win.
both got the win, I got one more for you. Who said this quote? If we win,
Oh, man.
I'm going to be drunk all of Hanukkah, 8 days. Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, Jose Alvarado.
I think I know this. If I get it right, can I get this point applied?
We can petition
I feel like
the
there's
powers
only one
that
person
be.
that would say something like that. I feel like it's Josh.
Well, Josh
3.
did bring wine.
I was going to say Grand Theft Alvarado.
It could be Alvarado, but I'm going to say Josh.
All right, my day.
Josh Alvarado.
Oh.
Bonus points for
Jose.
Janae and the sauce.
Hey, Jose.
Hey, Monty.
Man,
Down on Water Street, Parade of
I'm gonna be drunk
Heroes.
for 8 days.
Apply the
Janae,
points.
apply the points here.
Jot
Well
that
done,
down.
sis. Well done. I thought
Okay,
it was
Zay
going to
Grant
be.
that.
I actually did think Josh because he brought wine to
And
his
he always says
postgame.
weird stuff post-game. Pizza.
There
He's
you
like,
go. Well, Danny, you
random stuff.
neutralized yourself on this one. Alvarado's Knicks, right? They're the fifth team in NBA history to win at least 11 straight games within a single postseason. Unconfirmed if any of them went on to be drunk for 8 days. But the only teams with a longer streak here are Kevin Durant and Steph. That was in 2017. And then the 99 Spurs as well. So let's check in now on the team that the Knicks eliminated, right? The Cavaliers star Donovan Mitchell. He sat down with Mark Spears to discuss his future in Cleveland in his final edition of My Diary series from a course of this season.
It's over. Believe it, Knicks fans, for the first time in 27 years, the New York Knicks are going to the NBA Finals.
There's no easy way to, it's just like, damn, right? Like, it's over with. I think the worst part about it is just like the sweep is like we had an opportunity, right? It was right there.
Down 22 with 7.5 to go. Knicks take game one behind the brilliance of Jalen Brunson.
I'm not saying we go ahead and win the series, whatever happens, happens, but when you have an opportunity, man, and you let it go past, that's killer. Going home, like literally going home to my house is tough just because I won't be able to escape this. I have to see the team that beat us and watch the Fanatics live around the Fanatics, go order my favorite sandwich, and the person behind the counter is a Fanatic. It's going to be a long summer, but just get you ready for 19 weeks from now. Yeah, I feel like this has been a consistent theme every single season I've been here. And I thought it would go away once I signed the first extension, but here we are. I said, I love it here. I see growth, I see a runway. I believe I've made Cleveland home. Outside of just basketball, I don't want to go. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Cleveland, y'all know how I feel.
Is it your hope that this group remains together, and do you believe that the outcome will be different if it?
Yeah, we're a very, very talented group, I'm appreciative of him because he helped me get to somewhere I've never been before. It's different when you have somebody that you look eye to eye with in that scenario, and we live in a world where it's just so much easier to knock and hate, and to see it firsthand, the work ethic, the passion, the IQ, the leadership, it's just like, man, just gets a bad rep. And I saw Denzel say this, like he's won 3 Oscars. And the first thing he said to the interviewer was like, yeah, but I lost 8 times. Like, we don't talk about that. Like, if you would have told me I'm 9 years in, almost a decade in, one of the best players in the NBA, I would be playing with some of the best players ever. I'd be playing for one of the best organizations ever. If you would have told me I'd have my own shoe, if you would tell me all these things, like, I just wouldn't have believed you. We may win a ring here, we may never win a ring here, but I've won in life. I'm out of here. Catch y'all in 19 weeks.
So Donovan Mitchell says he wants to return to Cleveland. The Cavaliers, though, they have a lot of decisions to make this offseason. Bobby Marks is back with us. So, Bobby, what is the first order of business here for Cleveland?
I think, Malika, it's the James Harden contract here. Harden's in a unique situation. He's got a $42 million player option, and there's only $13 million of that guaranteed. So if Harden did opt in, Cleveland could certainly waive him and save a ton of money here. I would expect him to opt out of that contract and both sides to negotiate a little bit of a longer contract, whether it be 2 years. And why opting out makes the most sense is that would put Cleveland potentially under the second apron. If you drop 42 to, let's say, 30, that puts them under the second apron and gives them some flexibility moving forward with Harden.
And they need that flexibility, right, if they want to continue to build towards being a true contender. A player that's gotten a lot of attention, what comes next is Evan Mobley. Bobby, and earlier today, Kobe Altman was asked about Evan Mobley's future. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Can you say definitively that Evan Mobley will be on your team next year?
Evan Mobley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of our future. I don't know what you mean by.
Well, because all these Evan for Giannis.
Yeah, we're not gonna speculate on any players outside these walls.
All right, so Kofi's not really going into it there, but Bobby, what would have to happen here for the Cavaliers? Do you think that they will look at getting a player like a Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I would just say, listen, anytime you lose in the first in the conference finals and you get swept, I think everything has to kind of be on the table as far as how you can improve here, considering even if Giannis does become available, which I think we all know he will be here. I think for Cleveland, it's hard because Giannis makes $58 million. If you're an apron team, you can't take back more salary. When you look at the Cavs cap sheet, there's nobody on that roster making $58 million. I think Evan Mobley is right in the mid-40s here. So it would be difficult for them to go out and do a Giannis type deal if Mobley is the guy out there. Now, as we talked about earlier, if Harden does lower that number, gives them a little bit more of a financial window to possibly make a deal happen here. But I do think it is pretty difficult when it comes to Giannis.
Yeah, and on the Milwaukee Bucks side of all of this, of course, their ownership, Jimmy Haslam, has said that the draft is sort of the deadline that they're looking at to try to get some indication one way or another on where Giannis wants to be here, whether it's still in Milwaukee or elsewhere. Bobby Marks, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it. Before we go to break, we're following